I'm coming back. Wait a minute.
All right, we are good to go. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. We are here doing our regular every Tuesday thing. We're going to do these, we figured out we're going to do these for 2 more weeks after tonight. We have, did you guys get the email about our summer series that we're going to do?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, look for it.
Is it for you at your house?
Yeah, this is the one that we do at our house.
Well,
So
I can't make it. Sorry.
yeah.
Teleport.
So yeah, we're gonna do it again this month, this summer. It's gonna be 4 classes that we rotate around for 4 months. You have to be. I encourage everybody to come here, but if this coronavirus thing or if this lockdown thing continues, then we're not. I'll probably still do the classes, but we won't do. I'll probably switch it up just a little bit. So we'll see how things are going. Hi, Carol. Glad you can join us today. So let me go ahead and get started with tonight's lesson. Allergies, right? This is one of the 2 things that got me interested into oils. This was actually the first introduction I had to oils. I was having an allergy attack, and my neighbor, Heather, she was down here at the time, and she kind of said, hey, you want to try something different? And I'm always willing to try something a little bit different. And she gave me a peppermint beadlet. Now in there, that's just a 1/4 drop of peppermint oil. And I took the beadlet and I crushed it against the roof of my mouth. And almost instantly, my sinuses opened up and I was breathing a little bit better. And I just looked at her and I said, what else you got? And that kind of was my launch into the essential oils and kind of start experimenting and playing with them. Now, mind you, I didn't jump in full-fledged, right? I went to, Elaine and I went to 3 essential oil 101 classes before we figured out that this is something we want to kind of jump on board with. So tonight's stuff that I'm going to talk about is near and dear to my heart because I've had allergies as way back as I can remember, my early teens, 13, 14, I've been on medication of some sort. I am happy to say for the past handful of years, I now use only essential oils. Well, I'm going to retract that. I use essential oils for most of the time. We're coming into a season where I actually have to jump back on my medications and do the essential oils because there is something that happens in the May, June timeframe, and again in September, where it just messes me up and I start wheezing, I start doing all this other stuff, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to go to use my medication. So, you know, by no means, you guys know that I'm not, you either have to do medications or no medications. It's you find that happy medium, you find what works for you, right? So let me show you this, I threw together just a quick slideshow and I'm gonna try to pull it up now. All right, you guys seeing this?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so bear in mind that we have been doing essential oils for almost 7 years, and this was something that just didn't happen overnight, right? This took us some practicing. We had to figure out, we knew what oils we wanted to use, but we had to learn how to use them, which way was the best way to use them for me and for Elaine. So with that in mind, there was a lot of trial and error that happened. When the cool thing about essential oils is, right, you can't use the wrong essential oil, right? I've mentioned this before, that we may not get the exact benefits we're looking for, but we are going to get some kind of benefit from that. So for those of you who are viewing this later on, maybe that don't know who I am, my name is Angelo Torre. I'm a wellness advocate with doTERRA. As I said, I've been doing essential oils for about 7 years now. You can find me at the Healthier You Facebook page, where we're getting a lot of folks coming into that group. There is my email and there is my cell phone if you want to shoot me a text or give me a call. If you got any questions along the way, or I'll be happy to answer those questions and help you navigate through this interesting world of essential oils, because it is a totally different mindset, is it not, folks? When
Yes.
you go from
Yep.
traditional Western medicine to try to incorporate some kind of natural, healthy type stuff, it's a mind shift, and you really kind of got to think about it sometimes. So we're here for that. We always try to educate our folks and make sure that they know the best way to use the oils and the safest way to use the oils. I'm moving you guys around on my screen, so that's what I'm doing. So springtime, who doesn't love springtime, right? I mean, this is really a nice time of the year. When you think about it, you got the rebirth and the regrowth of all the plants. We got some really pretty flowering trees along our driveway. If you guys ever make it back over to our house, you'll see them. But I mean, this is where kind of the newness begins, right? We've had a pair of geese that Elaine calls Ozzie and Harriet. We've had them for a handful of years on our property, and they come back every year, and we should be seeing the little chicks anytime now. And so that's, that the newness of that. And the temperature's getting a little warmer, and the sun's shining a little bit longer, and the days are getting kind of nice. Unless you're kind of like me, where you're one of the not so lucky folks where it's allergy season. And with me, it hits, and it hits hard. My allergy attacks, when I don't catch them in time, they could have me down for at least 2 days, maybe 3 if it's really bad. So I got to be really on top of taking my oils. If I need the extra medications, I get them. But there's other things I've learned along the way, and I'll get into that as we talk about things. So just a little bit about what an allergic reaction is, right? And this is when our immune system basically reacts or overreacts to a foreign substance. And that foreign substance can be real or even perceived, like what it thinks is a foreign substance. We know there's a lot of people that are allergic to pollen and bee venom and pet dander, that kind of things. When we talk about the substance that causes the reaction, that's the allergen in and of itself. And a true allergic reaction is immediate, right? It happens almost instantaneous, and you have this hypersensitivity, and it just basically kicks your immune system into gear, and it activates a lot of some of the white blood cells. We have a lot of different types of white blood cells within the body. There's several different kinds, and they all have their own different jobs. But when this immune system kind of gets kicked into gear, we got certain white blood cells that are triggered to be, by the antibodies, okay? So what ends up happening is the immune system identifies this as we have an allergen, right? And when that immune system reacts, or when that kind of kicks into gear, there's a few things that actually happen with that. It will instigate, or you'll see it starting to take effect in our sinuses and our airways, right? We'll see it in inflamed skin, and we'll also see it in our digestive tract plays a really important role into this. I am not going to get into the healthy or the gut health or digestive system in this class. I will do that another time, because as you guys know, if you guys heard me talk before, this is an entire different topic all in of itself. But it does play into your gut health, does play into your overall health. And you've heard me say many a times that the oils are not silver bullets, right? So the oils will help, but if we don't change some of the things that we're doing, we're not going to get the most benefit or the best benefit that we can from those essential oils. So when that immune system kicks on, and we got all these systems that start to react, right? I'm going to throw on my paramedic hat for a little bit, right? So severity of an allergic reaction will vary from person to person, right? It can be anything from kind of minor to oh my God, I need to call 911. Let me call for an ambulance right now. But I want you guys to be mindful of when I'm talking about seasonal allergies right now, not any kind of life-threatening anaphylaxis type of allergic reaction. And we know people have different allergies to peanuts or shellfish, bees and wasps, those kinds of things. And those can be immediate to where the airway is obstructed and we need to get 911 so they can get some medication on board. So when in doubt, like I said, call for an ambulance and just really focus on the airway and the breathing for these folks. And if there's anything that you can do to support that, just go ahead and do that while you're waiting for the ambulance. But again, see this kind of reaction. This is not what the oils are initially used for. We know one of the things I always talk about is the oils are more of a preventative than a reactive type. So here's a whole list. This isn't even an all-inclusive list of some of the things that people are allergic to, right? I'm sure you guys can look at this list and you can identify with some of those that you may or may not have had some effect with. I can tell you that as we have shifted over to a cleaner diet and getting rid of some of the chemicals within the house, using the oils for cleaning the house, I can tell you this, we have become extremely more sensitive to some of the fragrances that are out there. I can tell you that when we go out for walks, we know who's using dryer sheets in their dryers just by walking by the house and having that smell. And it's really, really potent. So usually when people have allergies to something, there's usually what we call the trigger. And these are some of those triggers that you see here. The best way to avoid having an allergic reaction would be to avoid the triggers, right? But not always the case, right? If I never want to have to worry about my seasonal allergies, then even staying inside isn't going to help me out. All right, I'm still going to have some of that effect. If I have the windows open and my neighbor's cutting the grass, I know it. My sinuses know it. I start to get this little tickle in my throat. So then that's when I know I need to kind of remove that. I need to shut the windows and turn on the AC. But again, this is just some of the list that that people have when they have different allergies too. Excuse me. So
That's how I get. I'm always clearing my throat.
yeah. So this is the little snippet of science that I'm going to throw in here. I just wanted you guys to realize kind of what happens when you have an allergy or when your allergy attack, whether it's minor or major. So usually if somebody is allergic to something, we don't know that the first time they use that. It's not known, it's not considered, they don't feel the responses of that allergic reaction until the second or maybe even the third time they use it. Mm-hmm. But the first time that they take it and the body thinks it's an allergy, it will release the IgE into the plasma cells. And you can read there on the bottom that the body produces histamines to defend itself against potentially disease-causing agents, right? Histamine is the key mediator in these symptoms, but when the total body level exceeds the catabolic enzymes, then we start to have this release of histamines. And this is the stuff that we're trying to, I got to move you guys again.
Yeah.
So when we have that breakdown, the symptoms of histamine, the excess occurs, and then we start to see the various symptoms of that allergy that allergy response start to come about. So that's kind of the short snippet of how it works, right? So, and it's the histamine that when that is released, that's when we start to see the signs and symptoms of of those allergies, right? The scratchy throat, the sniffles, the sneezing. So I found this to be interesting. I haven't been able to pull up the actual study. I did a little bit of search yesterday and today for it, but I wasn't able to find it. But way back in 2004, they did a little experiment where they took a nasal inhalant formulated with eucalyptus, lavender, and cypress, and they administered that to patients. And here's the cool part, right? All of the patients experienced significant relief compared, and it was comparable to the antihistamines, the medications that we take, whether they're over the counter or prescribed. It was very, very comparable to that. And that effect was started within 5 minutes, and it lasted several hours. And I'm here to tell you that I use a couple of these on a regular basis. I'll tell you what I do on a daily basis that has helped me get through. And if I'm out doing shoveling mulch or doing some yard work and I feel like I got an allergy attack coming on, I will immediately stop what I'm doing, go inside and do something. And within 5 minutes, I can head back outside and finish my work. Now, again, it took me a couple tries to figure this out, right? So here are my go-to oils for my allergy bomb, as I call it. Lavender has been fantastic for suppressing the allergic airway, the inflammation and the mucus in there. And lavender has the same effect as an antihistamine, okay? Lemon is really good to relieve the congestion and the mucus. Again, we know that lemon is good for kind of detoxing the body. It's good for a maintenance detox. But we've noticed that that using it internally or inhaling it, it's a good alternative and for the treatment of the same seasonal allergic and rhinitis going on. Peppermint, as versatile as this is, this really helps with the anti-inflammatory activity, especially in the upper airway systems, right? Because when we get that congested feeling, we got this snot coming out and we're blowing our nose constantly, and we feel that pressure and our sinuses are just all inflamed. The peppermint oil is actually going to help mitigate some of that and open up those airways and kind of treat that, try and hone in on that inflammation that's going on. So that's what the three of these together, this is what I use every day. I've had to adjust this as time goes on. I take this internally. I make myself a capsule every morning, and I use 4 drops of lemon, 3 drops of lavender, 3 drops of peppermint. I do that extra drop of lavender just because it's good for that detox, and a citrus oil is good for the liver. So I do this every day, and if we're not in the height of allergy season, that's all I need all day long. Now, mind you, I was on 4 different medications for many, many years. I took Allegra, Sudafed, Singulair, and Flonase every day. And if I ended up getting an allergy attack, I couldn't do anything with that because I had to wait till the next day in order to take my medications. Right? So with this, if I take this in the morning and then I go out and I shovel mulch and I start feeling this, if I sneeze, I have learned that when I sneeze, I stop doing what I'm doing, I go inside and I take a drop of lavender and I put it underneath my tongue, because that's the antihistamine, right? It tastes horrible, but in 5 minutes, I can step outside and go back out and finish doing what I was doing. Usually, the first time I sneezed and didn't do anything about it, I was actually cutting the grass when Elaine would let me cut the grass. And I sneezed and I had about 15, 20 minutes left of cutting the grass. And I said, okay, I'll just finish this up. Well, I finished that up, put the mower away, went inside, took my allergy, made another capsule of 4, 4, and 4 this time, but it was too late. The attack had set in, and I was down for about a day and a half. My head was all messed up. So that point told me right there, as soon as I sneeze, I need to stop doing what I'm doing and walk inside. If I do that, I'm good to go. I haven't had any problems as long as I come inside, take that lavender, put a drop underneath my tongue, wait about 5 minutes, and then head back outside. Now, if I'm outside and I'm doing stuff for another hour or 2 hours later, I sneeze again, I stop what I'm doing, come inside, and I'll take another hit of lavender, drop of lavender underneath my tongue. That's the cool part about these oils, is that I can take them, because they're all natural, I can take them almost as often as I need to, right? You do want to pay attention to the dosage that you take for any given day. You don't want to exceed amount, and the oils are different. Each oil is a little bit different, but we want to make sure that we use the oils safely and effectively. I have not had any issues with having too much of any certain oil on board. And you guys know I take a lot of oils every day. General rule is if you take no more than 20 drops of an oil, not 20 drops total, but 20 drops of an oil in a 24-hour period, that's about the most you would want to do. I have never, yeah.
So what I heard there is, if I have 6 oils that I'm going to use on a daily basis, my total daily count is going to be 120.
Okay. You don't want 20 drops of one specific oil. You don't want any more than 20 drops of lemon in a 24-hour day. You don't want any more than 20 drops of, there's some oils you want less of, like On Guard or oregano. You want a little bit, you don't want to go that high. And I'd have to get back into the books and look that up to get the specifics.
Right, but rough rule of thumb is, if I have 6 oils that I'm using, then if I want to get a clicker and count how many I take in a day and I hit 120, I know that I can't take any more, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I started using Tri-Ease, which probably has some of this in it.
The Tri-Ease is exactly that. I'll get into it. I'll talk about that in a little bit. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
But I also take the Tri-Ease with me when I travel, because it's much more convenient than making my own capsules.
Right.
My other go-to oil for the allergy season is this one right here. I use this oil year-round, really. Elaine and I like to use this, having it diffused in the bedroom when we're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And the smell is just very calming, very relaxing. With laurel leaf and peppermint in there, it's really a good wake you up kind of oil. But it's actually kind of soothing, and because this helps keep my sinuses open at night while I'm sleeping, I get a better night's sleep, and we feel a little bit more rested and after that. And it's got the melaleuca and the lemon and the cardamom in there, all good for antifungal, antibacterial. Cardamom is a really good respiratory oil as well. And you can see the different variety of ways that we can use Breathe, right? I carry Breathe lozenges with me year-round in my backpack, just for whatever. I use the Breathe oil straight. I just put drops right into the diffuser. We have the roller ball, which is really good, convenient. If I do feel some sinus pressure coming on, then I can take the Breathe and just apply it around my sinuses. You want to be careful not to get it too close to your eyes, right? Because what happens when we get the peppermint in our eyes?
Ouch.
Ouch.
Yeah. I've only done that about, this many times. But yeah, so you want to be careful and keep it away from your eyes. But this is, I think, one of the best products they came out with was the Breathe Stick. I mean, and if you ever done Vicks Vapor Rub growing up, then this is the replacement for it, right?
So,
Elaine and I will put this if we're really congested at night for whatever reason. I'll put it on my chest, or she'll put it on her chest, and it's really good for just a little bit of added kick, and it just really kind of opens up those sinuses for us and gives us a better night's sleep. I think that is one of the best things that they have come out with. So when it comes to using some other oils, they're right, lemon, lavender, peppermint aren't the only oils that you can use. You have to know what oils work well with your body. And you have to know how your body best uses the oils. That's another thing we had to figure out. But if you're going for some kind of support, when you're talking about allergy, there was something related to allergies, these are the 3 properties that we're looking for in our essential oils as we kind of figure out which oils we're going to use. We want something that's anti-allergenic. We want something definitely that is an antihistamine, and we want a little bit of steroidal support in there as well. And you can see the anti-allergenic ones. There's geranium, helichrysum, magnolia, and turmeric. For antihistamine, I found it surprising that clove was actually antihistamine. I knew that Melissa and Roman chamomile were. For the steroidal aspect of it, there are a lot of oils that provide steroidal support. You can see that list there. There's a handful of others that go on top of that. And the book that I am referencing is this one right here, the Essential Life book. This is the 5th edition, but Sean, you have the 6th edition, right?
Essential Life, you said?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, they're up to the 6th edition. So, but there is a table in the back of that book where it talks about the related properties. And that is a wicked informative, that's my Maynard coming out. That is very wicked informative insofar as cross-referencing and to see which oils work well with others. And if we're trying to come up with different properties as we make our blends, it's a great table to kind of go pull those different oils and see which ones are going to work for you, right? Because sometimes an oil that works for me may not be an oil that works for you. It's just it's kind of to each their own. It's just the different body chemistries, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of things that play into that. So if the lemon, lavender, and peppermint didn't work for me, this is where I would go to, and I started throwing in some of these other oils. As long as I got those 3 properties that I'm putting together, I think I would be able to produce some type of blend that would give me the results that I'm looking for. So here's some of the suggested usages that I came up with, and I found this in a couple different references that I use regularly around here. The Essential Life being one of them. Oil Magic book is another one that I use, and the what's the one from Modern Essentials? That the other
Advanced
book.
Oil Magic.
Yeah. You just
Advanced Oil Magic.
Yeah, the Advanced Oil Magic and the Modern Essentials book. Those are and the Essential Life book. Those are the 3 that I use, right? So these are just a few of the recipes that I pulled. There is a ton of stuff out there. You want to be careful when you go to Pinterest or when you start Googling this stuff, because you can get a lot of different information out there. Whenever you guys know that whenever I Google anything to do with oils, I always use doTERRA as the first word because it just narrows down my search for me a little bit. But I found this one on allergy eyes to be intriguing. If you take 2 drops of lavender and tea tree oil and you put them under the pads of your index and your middle toe and you rub it in, uh, does anybody know what we're doing? How that works?
Reflex point.
Yep, it's a reflex point. Your reflexology, right? So
Mhm.
the tips of your toes and the tips of your fingers are all connected to your sinuses. So if we have some allergy eyes going on, and that redness, this puffiness, and maybe a little bit of tearing going on, and really itchy, this could be one of the ways that you could apply it on your toes, and it's actually going to get up into and relieve some of that. My power trio is the lavender, lemon, and peppermint. Elaine and I affectionately call it the lemonder mint because it's all 3 of them together, right? Lemonder mint. Now, I use oils internally to get the best results for me. There's a couple different varieties there you can see that you can put it in a cup of water. You can place it directly under your tongue. This is where the trial and error and a little bit of experimenting comes into play. Now, I swear up and down by taking oils internally, especially these 3 for allergies. And there is another member on our team, and she had allergies, and I said, you got to take them internally. You got to do this. You got to 3 or 4 drops of each oil, put it on and take it in a capsule, and you'll be good to go. She did that for a week. She had absolutely no effect on her. She said she was miserable, stuffy, eyes were itchy and watery. She hated it. She took the same exact oils, put them in a roller ball, applied them down her spine, to the back of her neck, the bottoms of her feet, and on her wrists every morning and afternoon. She got the same effect using them topically that I got using them internally. So this is where you got to play with it, right? This is where, you're not going to overdose from this by trying different things. And the other cool part is, if you don't get those desired effects that you're looking for, in 30, 45 minutes, you can go try something else. You don't have to wait 4 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours for that medication to wear off. No, I'm not knocking medications. There's, if you can use the medications and the oils together, but if you're trying to use a more natural and more pure type of product to get the relief and those benefits, then you can try something. If it doesn't work, or if it doesn't give you the exact results you're looking for, try something else. If you're stuck, give me a call. We'll talk about it. We'll look in the book. That's the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look in the book and see what they reference, and then we can look in the back of the book and try pulling some other stuff together. So,
Angelo,
the versatility of these is really good. Yeah, Sean.
with the lemon, the fact that you've been taking that internally, do you have any issues with sun sensitivity?
Not doing it internally. When you use the citrus oils topically, that's when you're going to run into the photosensitivity of it. Okay.
Okay.
So if I was to use it on the back, if I was to use that roller ball and on the back of my neck and on my wrist, I would want to cover my neck if I went outside in the sun, most definitely. But taking them internally, I haven't had to worry about that photosensitivity aspect of it. Now, Sherry, you were talking about you take the Tri-Ease tablets, the capsules, right?
Taken them for about 2 months, and I'm just starting to see that I feel better.
Okay. So in each of those capsules is 2 drops of lemon, lavender, and peppermint.
Can you take more than 1 a day?
Absolutely. You take what how many, you take 1 a day right now?
Yes, in the morning. But I take Zyrtec at night. If I don't take Zyrtec, I wake up stuffy anyway, but if I don't take Zyrtec at night, I'm even worse. And I diffuse. Breathe, and some other ones.
Okay.
But yeah, well.
take 2 capsules in the morning and see what that does.
All right, I'll try that. Matter of fact, I'm going to order another couple bottles here because I don't like to run out. I like to order way ahead of time. I just don't want to run out of the things at work.
Angelo, I just wonder if you're starting to get, Sherry, if you're starting to get some benefits from it,
Yes.
why not throw a dose in at the evening hours, space them 12 hours apart?
Yes, because I get stuffy in the morning. I wake up so stuffy I can't hardly breathe in the morning.
Yeah. So the one in the morning may not be able to cover you that 24 hours. So
yeah, that's an idea. I will. I'll take one tonight.
And you know, you can take it with the Zyrtec.
What's that?
You can take it with the Zyrtec, right?
Yeah.
So you could take the Tri-Ease capsule,
Okay.
and if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like going, nope, there's a whole lot of nope here, this isn't working.
Yeah, I know.
Then,
Oh. Yeah, I'll know. Matter of fact, down here you were saying when for you the spring and the fall.
Yeah.
Oh my, everything's blooming down here year round.
Yeah. Florida, when I was stationed in Florida, my body didn't like it very much.
Well, I'm learning my body doesn't like it either. I'm like, yeah, if I sit outside, like I have a lanai, it's all screened in. If I sit out and read and I come in within an hour, I am stuffed up again.
Yeah.
It's
I know, and I remember when the pollen was so thick that it would just cover the cars, and they were just lime green, and every car was lime green in color. And it was.
Well, I notice my screens are all full of pollen constantly. I have trees in the back. I mean, like a preserve in the back, and that doesn't help.
Yeah.
It's like, I told Kay, I says, I'm really thinking about moving back to Pennsylvania.
Hey, come on back. We'll welcome you with open arms. You know that.
I know that I had allergies back there, but not like this.
Yeah. And every geographical area is going to be a little bit different.
Yes. Pines to me too, like Jacksonville and up toward the Carolinas, they have a lot of pines. That bothers me.
Yeah. So, I know, you can't get away from it.
No.
I stumbled upon this other recipe for the allergy bomb, and that one has cilantro, tea tree oil, and lavender in a capsule taken internally. You can take that as needed. If you need to take it 2 or 3 times a day, you can do that. But that was just one I had stumbled upon. And then I told you about the lavender underneath the tongue when I feel that when I sneeze and I know I'm getting my allergies are about to jump on me and attack me. That it's, again, it does not taste good, but the benefits I get from that is astronomical.
I'll be warned when I try it.
Yeah, it doesn't taste good. Sometimes I'll just follow it with a glass of water, but if you take it under the tongue, it gets into the bloodstream really, really fast. That's why it's so effective. And it acts as that antihistamine. So if you take a drop of lavender, just follow it with a glass of water because it gets into the bloodstream that fast.
Hey, Angelo.
Yeah.
I'm looking back at one of your previous slides, and you mentioned about using peppermint because of the anti-inflammatory properties.
Yeah.
So, since we know that lavender tastes so terrible, do a drop of lavender under the tongue, chase it with peppermint, and then the water.
You could.
And that way you're getting a 1-2 punch of the, and also thinking about the diagram that you showed, when that might be your abortive. And it's not going to taste as bad.
True, the peppermint definitely tastes better. You know, I didn't even think about that. I may have to give that a try. So, thanks for that, Sean.
Yes, thanks. He's thinking.
He is. He's on top of it. This is why I love you guys. You know, it's I'm the one that puts the classes together, but you guys stimulate so much other conversation and your questions are really good. So that kind of drives us as a team to go in a really good direction, and I like that very, very much. So, like I said, I just threw together just a short little respiratory kind of, we didn't even get into the, I focused on the respiratory aspect of it. We didn't even get into the other systemic or the other body systems that are affected when you have an allergy attack. That will be addressed in another class somewhere down the road, but I just wanted to stay focused on more or less the respiratory aspect of it. As you guys know, it can be kind of overwhelming sometimes if we go with too much information. We start losing focus and stuff starts blending all together. And it's like, what did you say about that? And I forgot about what this was. And so I was just keeping it kind of short and sweet for tonight. So with that, do you guys have any questions for me? That was really quick tonight.
Yeah.
I hope you guys.
Mirror.
I hope you guys found it beneficial.
Yes, for me especially.
Okay. What kind of questions do you guys got? Anything that comes to mind?
For some reason, I was thinking that Breathe had lavender in it. So, because I think when Becky asked me not to make sure the girls didn't have anything with lavender, I was thinking they wouldn't be able to use Breathe, and we used Breathe here a lot when they were here because especially Anna, is really stuffy. So that's because I have a bottle of it right here, and it does not say lavender.
No, there's no lavender in that. I was just looking it up just to verify.
Yeah.
Are they allergic to lavender?
No, but
That's all right. I understand. I know what you were going to say.
Enough said.
I know what you're saying. I know.
well, people who are in the medical world do get different bits of information
Yes.
from different sources than we have, and it's not an anti-doTERRA thing in any way, shape, or form.
No.
It's just that there's some studies that showed a possible side effect. So she was concerned about that with Anna.
With lavender oil?
Yeah.
And boys?
Girls.
Girls? Okay.
The boys I could understand. The girls, I'm not making that connection.
Well, what it is. The study, and I had heard shortly after I got the information from Becky that there was some concern with boys.
Oh.
That's been debunked.
Hmm?
That's been debunked. I have the paperwork on that. I can forward that to you.
Okay.
So,
But anyway,
if that's something you want to,
I don't want to act like this is something, we're all adults here, but basically what they say is it stimulates puberty in little girls. So, and they were starting to see some signs of that for Anna. So,
okay. I haven't seen that, but I can research that out a little bit. See if I can find anything, but no, Breathe does not have, back to the original, Breathe does not have lavender in it. So
Now, I forget who said that they use Breathe in their CPAP machine. How do you use it?
that was
It was somebody. I
Kim
heard.
from last week. Was it Kim or somebody? She puts it in her water bowl, in the water bowl. I don't know if that's actually the best way to use it. There are, Sean, didn't you find some kind of filters that you could put in line with your
Yeah,
CPAP?
and my pulmonary doc, he's saying, Sean, I think there's value. His concern is it would be so concentrated that it would cause some because it's an oil base, create a lipid pneumonia.
Ooh.
Okay.
And I think it is a valid concern because it's right there, and you're not. Are you going to get enough dilution with the the CPAP part of it. And he says, I don't know.
Right.
I would be very, I'm trying to think of his word. He says, I'm very leery of that device. He says, however, I do use, and like you said, we have a diffuser in our bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what helps. So,
yeah, there's still a lot of conversation about whether or not you should use an oil with a CPAP device. Do you put it in the bowl? Do you, they're talking about the oils could penetrate up into the hose and deteriorate the hose due to the potency of it. You found those filters that are kind of inline filters. I haven't researched that out enough to really get a solid answer for myself. So I think it's a continuing conversation.
Now, the company that supplies, because I said about using the On Guard concentrate to clean my hose, and they said, no, it will. The essential oils will degrade the hose.
Yeah.
I use the foaming On Guard hand soap to clean my hose, and I have no trouble with it.
Okay.
So, and I use it, I mean, that's what I used all the time to clean it. So I just squeeze just a little bit in and then use hot water to run it through.
Okay, because with the foaming hand soap, it's already diluted down quite a bit.
Yeah.
So there's the thought. All right, what other questions you guys got? Anything?
I was more interested in about the Tri-Ease that I started using about 2 months ago. I started.
Yeah, I like Sean's idea of one in the morning, one in the evening.
Yeah, I'm going to try that tonight. I'll take one.
Okay, so next week you have 2 things to report back to us then.
The mirror. Oh no, not the mirror.
Sherry.
Start 10 minutes early to just get caught up with Sherry.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
All right.
Sherry, something else. If the twice a day split works,
Yes.
I would really be curious to see what happens then if you drop the Zyrtec altogether.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could try. Yeah. I'll try. I'll start with tonight and see how I am in the morning, and then.
Well, you may need a couple of days till your body gets used to that. So I would do 7 periods of 7 days.
Okay.
And it took you almost, 2 weeks to start noticing relief?
About, yeah, maybe a little more. I was like taking it you know how you start, you know, you're start taking, I say you start taking the Tri-Ease and then you kind of stop and see, is there any difference? And then, but there is a difference. I've been on it now for about 2 or 3 weeks nonstop.
Okay, so I would say do 2 more weeks split.
Yes.
All right, so twice a day. And then in 3 weeks, stop the Zyrtec and see what happens.
All right.
Yeah, because I did the same thing. When I came off my medications, I was taking the oils and the medications at the same time. And then I said, it basically became a leap of faith. It was like, all right,
yep,
I'm going to just stop taking the medications and find out what happens. Now, when I stopped taking my allergy meds, I was on again, off again, because I had some trouble figuring that out. Same thing with my acid reflux. When I was trying to dump my Nexium, get rid of that. There was a lot of trial and error with that, but I kept that medication right there because I knew that worked. But I was finally able to find a combination that worked for me, and I was able to get rid of all my prescriptions. And you guys know that with me being prior military, all of my prescriptions are free, right? So I would rather spend the money to get the oils than do it more natural than.
Well, it's interesting because I tried the oils for the next. It's not the acid reflux that I went almost a month. It was the hiatal hernia that kept me. I had to go back on it.
Yeah.
So it's a shame because I really wanted to get off of it, but.
So, All right. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. What do you got? You got something, Kay?
I just was thinking, this just went through my head. Part of the leadership training, they talked about a woman who did her doctoral thesis about the cinnamon and relationship to people who have diabetes. And so they were talking about new oils and products coming out in the future. I mean, of course, that's what they want to have Prime Meridian for, to try to develop better ways to handle our health. And with the studies that she was able to do and the success she found, they said that would be something we should look forward to seeing.
Okay.
In my diabetes education classes, they told us wherever we can throw cinnamon into our diets, particularly the type 2s, they will notice. And I know I have to be really careful with how much cinnamon I use, even as a type 1, because it will make my much more insulin sensitized. And now that I've been using cassia, oh boy.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording for now.